Thank you all for being here.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so good to see you
Yes,
again.
ma'am. You too, your mom.
It keeps our state safer because we have men and women like you who have been properly screened, properly trained, and are carrying their weapons with them. I believe that our enlightened approach to gun rights in Texas is an essential part of our state's overall safety. And I think it is an ongoing demonstration of our commitment to liberty.
I've covered a few of your campaigns in the past. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about the 10th Amendment as much as you're talking about it now and as much as you're talking about states' rights.
Right.
Is there something that's happened in the interim that's made this more of a focal point for you?
Oh, absolutely. I'll bet you the United States Constitution has been read more in the last 6 months than it was in the last 50 years. So Americans and Texans are really focusing on, and I think rightly so, and I'm excited that people are really getting back engaged with the basics of our governing, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. For too long, Washington, D.C. has been telling the states how to run this themselves. And I think this administration and this Congress overreached so far with their health care one-size-fits-all, their energy with cap-and-trade policy that would be one-size-fits-all, with education policy where they came to Texas and said, here's some money, but if you take it, here are the national standards and here are the national tests. And we stood up and said no, expressing our 10th Amendment right, from my perspective, of telling Washington no.
What role do you think the Tea Party type folks have played in this election? You know, it's pretty clear there's a lot of frustration, anger, anxiety. Maybe that's part of what has caused those groups to grow and coalesce. Yeah. What role do you think they've played in this whole thing?
And I see a lot of engagement. I think that's a word that is a lot more instructive in the three that you pitched out there, the engagement of the American people. I think they were frustrated into inaction over the last few years, and they saw an administration and a Congress that really scared them. When we see the debt load, I mean, $14.3 trillion of debt, something so simple, it seems to Washington, as to raise the debt limit by a simple vote to $1.9 trillion, and people go, wait a minute, what are you doing? That's my children's future that you're mortgaging away. And so I'm tickled to death that Tea Parties got put together, and the people stood up and said, hey, Washington, what are you doing? And I think they are, and then concentric circles of influence coming out from those Tea Parties are the reason that you don't have a nationalized health care in America today.
I know that your great hope is that you would win this outright and not have to go into a runoff.
Sure.
Do you think that's going to happen?
Yes, ma'am.
You do think it's going to happen?
I think that we will win without a runoff.
I do support the Second Amendment, and I think that's very important, and especially as a Texan, it's very important because we kind of have our own way of doing stuff here.
So what do you want to hear from your candidates?
I want to hear the truth. I mean, I want the truth that they tell me to be backed up by what they do. And I know that some of the times we've been told one thing, and they turn around when they get to Washington or to Austin, they do something different. And that isn't going to cut it anymore. I want to see action backed up by, the words that they say backed up by the actions that they do.